Okay, the first thing you do before you handle any weapons is to make sure it's safe. First thing is if there's any magazines inside, make sure it's out. Make no magazines in there. Then you check the chamber. So you can see right in the chamber there's nothing inside. Look right down through the magazine wall, make sure there's nothing in there too. Once you verify that it's safe, you can go ahead and proceed. And somebody asked me how to take the actual extender and extendable stock, like the collapsing stock, off the buffer tube. And I've installed the CTR in here. It's a little bit different, but like if you have one of these, just the normal way, extend it all the way out to outermost position, and then you just pull up on this like that, and it should slide right off, completely off the buffer tube. It's pretty simple. That's how you do it. Okay, the first thing you do is to separate the two halves. And to do that, there's these two pins. There's one in the back and one in the front here. See, one here and one there. On the left side, you just push out from the left to the right. You just kind of push it and it should, pop out a little bit. Then from the right, now that it's pushed out a little bit, you can just reach underneath there with your fingernail and just pull it out. And these things are captured, so don't worry, they're not going to fly all the way out. They shouldn't, at least. So you're not going to lose them. And then you do the same with the front. And some people have trouble with the front, and mine is coming out fine, but let's say like I can't get it out, like it's, I'm pulling on it and it's just whatever. The best thing to do is hold the two halves together and just kind of lightly tap on the desk like that, and what that does is it brings the top half and the bottom half lined up better, and then that pivot pin in the front should just pop right out. Then with it popped out, the two halves separate. And with the two halves taken apart, the first thing you do is, with the hammer, make sure the hammer is back. There should be like a little nipple right there holding this buffer spring and buffer in place inside the buffer tube. You just hold down on the buffer spring and buffer assembly, and then press down on that nipple, and then the whole thing should just pop out. Make sure you be careful, don't let it fly out, because it sometimes will. And if the hammer is in the way, you just push down on the hammer a little bit and that buffer should clear it. And see, that should come out. And then these two come apart so you can clean them. Then if you need to get down underneath there, so you need to get the hammer up, don't just press the trigger and let it slap forward like I see a lot of people doing. Put your thumb there. Don't press down on it though, just put it there. Put it in fire, and then just press the trigger and just ride the hammer forward. Because if you just let it slap forward, it's going to hit this bolt stop here, and there's a chance of breaking it. So now this is up, you can clean underneath there, do whatever you need to do. Now to take apart the top half, it's pretty simple. See on the left side of the charging handle, there's a little claw that holds it shut. Just squeeze that and pull it back, and just with it halfway out like that, just take the bolt carrier out and it should slide right out. And then the charging handle, pull it back and then down and out, and it should come right out. Then this is the bolt carrier and bolt assembly. There's a little cotter pin right here on the left side. You could pretty easily just use your fingernail and just kind of pull that out. But if you can't, you could just use a pen or something to get that out. You see, you just kind of pull it right out with a little pin. Then with that out, just kind of slap back on it, and the firing pin should drop out from the back. After the firing pin is out, make sure the bolt's all the way back, and you see this part right here, this is the cam. See how it's vertical like this? Rotate it 90 degrees so that it's horizontal, and then that should just come right out too. Then with that out, the bolt just slides right out. Then to take it apart further, there's something called the extractor, which you see there's one piece that looks separate from the rest of the bolt. Just push down on that, push down on the back of it because there's a spring, and then either using the cotter pin or using the tip of your firing pin, just push out on this little pin here while you're holding down on the extractor until you see it pops out on the other side. Then you can just pull that right out. Then when that pin is out, the extractor comes out. Make sure you don't lose any of these small parts, by the way. Now once you have it fully apart, yeah, there's a little spring in the back here too. Make sure that does not come off. Don't try to pull that off or disturb it. But once you have it fully apart and you're going to go clean it, focus on a couple spots here. The front here usually gets pretty dirty of the bolt. The back here, actually you can see it gets built up with carbon after a while. You see right here, on the back of the bolt, you see all that crust? You need to scrape that off with like some kind of metal object. You know, scrape that until it's smooth like the rest of it. Now usually there should be some carbon building up in the inside of there too. Just, you know, clean everything off and put a light coat of oil on it.